Hello everyone, it's Rachel here today to talk about my semester project. Before we begin, I would like to apologize for the formatting. You see, these white margins here aren't supposed to be there. I had everything the way I liked it in the Word file, and only after printing did I realize my printer wasn't capable of printing to the edge. So if any text seems off-center, that's the reason. Sorry about that. If you want to see what it was supposed to look like, I'll include the source file underneath the video. Anyway, for my semester project, I created this lovely brochure that presents a curriculum for environmental education. I took the knowledge that we've learned throughout the semester and some of my own knowledge to put this thing together. Of course, it's not a perfect curriculum. There's only so much space on a brochure after all, so some units inevitably had to be cut. As for the aesthetic of the brochure, I created this nice little sort of crystal-y background here in Photoshop and imported it to Word. All of these images are copyright free and can be found in the links under the video. Now with all that out of the way, let's begin with the actual content of the brochure. The cover is simple. Title, name, a picture, and a quote from the late but great Labor Johnson. But getting into the actual meat of things, I decided to include an entire section of the brochure to explain how I envisioned this curriculum would be taught. I'm not going to read it word for word, just summarize and explain. If you want to read what it actually says, feel free to pause the video. So ideally, I would want this curriculum to be taught in a half lecture, half hands-on format. So while there would still be someone explaining and talking about the material, there also would be things like field trips and experiments so that one's learning could actually get a feel for what's actually going on in the environment. Moving on to the actual first unit. Unit 1 is all about why the environment is important. I felt like if this curriculum were actually going to be taught in a class, then it would be important to establish why the people learning should care right off the bat. This unit would basically go into how the environment is important for human health, talking about things like how trees provide oxygen and the earth provides food. It would also discuss how the environment is important for the economy, like how we wouldn't be able to make products out of paper if trees weren't a thing. Moving along to the second unit. Unit 2 is the 3 R's, reduce, reuse, and recycle. I also felt like it was necessary to talk about these three things early on because they really are some of the most important things when it comes to sustainability. The 3 R's are general enough so that they can be applied to a variety of different situations. And because of that, I think the hands-on approach for this unit would be the best choice. For example, reusing could be demonstrating by turning something like an empty water bottle into a pencil case. And that's just one example. There are hundreds of ways these 3 concepts can be demonstrated, and that's the fun of it, endless creative possibilities, all while helping the environment. The next 3 units all kind of go together. Units 3 through 5 are about habitats, water, and pollution. This is where I had to start cutting some content, so I tried to focus on what I find to be the 3 most important things when it comes to environmental sustainability. Starting with habitats, I believe that the preservation of different ecosystems is critical, but also understand that we can't just stop developing altogether. This unit would teach people about the different types of habitats, such as wetlands and forests, and go into how they each can benefit us. Unit 3 would also discuss how people use land for things like development and farming, the potential problems these things can cause, and some practical solutions to these problems. Unit 4 would follow a similar structure, discussing sources of drinking water, such as groundwater, briefly just going over the water purification process, and talking about problems revolving around water, mainly the lack of availability, before going over some potential solutions. Unit 5 is much more broad. This unit would discuss various sources of pollution for the land, water, and air. It would also go into detail on how exactly this affects the environment, talk about critical issues such as climate change, and like the previous 2 units, solutions would also be discussed, mentioning ways to reduce the amount of pollution that is released. The final unit, is about what individuals can do to promote environmental sustainability. I wanted to end on this unit because I feel that discussing small personal ways someone can contribute to the environment is the perfect way to send learners off. By mentioning little things that they can do, such as carpool, the goal is to convince them that even though there are big issues threatening the environment like climate change, they can still make a difference. So yeah, that's my project. I hope you all enjoyed, and I look forward to hearing your feedback. Bye!